Hi, my name is Francisco. I want to start with question two. So this question is about how do those in power perpetuate gender and racial stereotypes? And so I thought the TED Talk really gave a good explanation of it when it detailed their life of how she was reading these books from the UK and the US and how it really set the standard for they for her was like, oh, this what book who people who write books, what books are about, and it really gave her a certain worldview, and I think that they do that a lot. I found that in my own life watching North American, or not really North American media, but just American and Canadian media, and this really kind of made gave me a certain viewpoint. So when I would watch Mexican TV or listen to Mexican music, it would just always seem kind of strange to me until I got to a certain age where I could understand it more and I could relate to it more and kind of understand the culture. And then question two, it talks about the single story and how we get a certain single story from media and literature about how the world is or how what life is like in certain places. Usually places we haven't been, we get this single story of people we don't know, people we don't understand. And so I use these photos right here to demonstrate the single story because this is on the bottom one is the single story we usually get about Africa, where it's a village, there's chickens wandering around, it's the dirt roads, people live in huts. But a lot of in Africa there are also many cities like this one above. This is a city in Africa right here, and so that it kind of demonstrates that it's a very diverse and huge place, and that there isn't this single story. It's just it really it simplifies things, and it creates inaccuracy and misunderstanding, and it also can create it can help it make it can create racism and assumptions like poor education, poverty, where if you meet someone, let's say from Africa, you think, oh, they're they grew up poor or they grew up this, you might think they grew up this way or that way when you have that single story in your head where it's much more diverse. And so the last question I'll answer, it talks about understanding the human experiences and what can we really do about this? How can we change things? And so I think the best way to change that and to push back or to really, I guess it's the easiest way to happen is on like an individual. Like, how can I fix the single stories in my head? I think it's just the biggest weapon against ignorance is learning and travel. And so meeting the more people you meet and the more you understand them and empathize with them, the more places you go, the more things you do in those places, and the better you actually really get to you have to really empathize with people there and understand them. I think that is the best way to defeat this idea of a single story and to create better equality around the world. Thank you.